welcome to the 62nd episode of NiinaNknitting. My name is Niina and I live in Jyväskylä in central Finland with my husband, our two kids, and a dog. And today is September 11th, so 9/11. I can still remember when that tragic attack happened on the Twin Towers. I remember watching it on the news and the feeling was surreal. But this is not a history podcast. I really don't have the ability to do that. This is a knitting and all sorts of crafts kind of podcast that I have here on YouTube. You can find me on Ravelry as ninima and on Instagram as NiinaNknitting. You've seen that on the screen, I think. The intro that I put here it was taken one morning, I think a couple of weeks ago. It was a very, very beautiful misty morning, and so I just thought that this would be a really nice way to start my podcast, showing you what it looks like in here. So September 11th, it is the very end of summer and the beginning of fall here in Finland. At the moment, the sun is shining, the weather is nice. Yesterday it was raining all day. So that's the sort of weather we have. The title of the episode, it's actually stuff that's been on my mind or go in my thoughts for a long time. Started with the pandemic and starting distance work and being sort of away from everybody and trying to get some sense out of all of it and trying to understand and trying to get information on this weird thing called COVID-19. And one of the things I did at the time was I found online that there was a French news program each evening for 10 minutes, news in French, le journal en français facile. Facile being easy, and well, for a non-native French speaker, I wouldn't call it easy, but yeah. But I was very happy to discover that it was mostly understandable. So that was the language part of it. A lot of it was something that I didn't understand. A lot of new words, a lot of words that I really didn't know the specific meaning of, but of course could understand with the context. And the other thing that I learned or have learned listening to those news is that the different point of view of France as compared to Finland. Of course, first of all, France used to have colonies around the world, and those countries are still important to France, and that was kind of interesting to really see or hear. It's not a news with it's not a video news. It's just sort of a recording. But yeah, so they talk about the old colonies or what happens in there, and of course last spring and a lot of the summer too it was all about COVID-19 and how it's progressing in different parts of the world. And the fact that they talk about other French-speaking countries as much. The ones that we don't hear about in our news here in Finland, because they're not important to us the same way they are to France and to the French people and to French-speaking people. So that was useful to realize. It was very interesting also. And of course, France is in the sort of southwestern part of Europe, and we're up in the north. So they have a different point of view. They're closer to Africa, and of course the North African countries are the ones that are linked to France by history and by all sorts of relations. So that's been interesting, and then as for me and what use I've had from listening to that and all those things that I've learned is that, wow, it's great to be able to just go and listen to news in other languages and to understand, well, not everything, but a lot, and to get different points of view. So that's been great, and I've started to appreciate the fact that I can understand different languages more. Kind of cool. I'll do it because I can. And I know that sounds really arrogant, and it can be. But I'm trying, well, many of you know, I'm 45, almost 46. And at this point, I'm trying to get rid of belittling myself, because that's very easy. We Finns say that it's a feature that we Finns have. I'm kind of thinking that there are quite a bit of people who do that. I'm trying to get to know myself better and sort of acknowledge my strengths and my weaknesses. And the weaknesses that I have, I try to sort of consider, do I need to, or would it be good to try and do something about it, or at this point are they something that I'll just know that that's not my strong point, and fine, there are people who can do that or know that stuff. So yeah, I'm trying to get to know myself better and to be more sure about myself in that. At this age, it's kind of good to know what you know and what you don't know. That's been on my mind this year. And how it's linked to this episode, for example, this episode is that some of the projects that I've made are sort of the same thing. I need it, I'll make it. And that's kind of cool. You want to see some of my projects? Let's get to some sewing first.
Now, some of you may remember this t-shirt I made for myself this summer. I showed it to you in a previous podcast. This is, the pattern's called Aalto-paita. It's from kangaskapina.fi, I think. And I made this shirt again for my daughter with a few modifications. So I'm just going to show you the original version first. So the front piece and the back piece are in two pieces. One fabric on the shoulders and the other one on the lower part. And it's got quite a wide neckline, in my opinion, and that's why I use this, I'll probably use this only in the summertime. And I told you that this has only been hemmed once, or folded once, and I told you about this part that it was pretty tricky to get the hemming done on the shoulder seams in a way. And in this similar way, there's no sleeves, it's only in one part, and you just hem or fold the fabric in the armholes. I probably should have used black yarn, black thread here, but whatever. Nobody's gonna notice when I'm wearing the shirt. But yeah, this is the original version, and it's got quite a bit of shaping on the waist, and then it's got the rounded hem. And here you can see another problem that I had when I was sewing this. So hemming a curved hem is not an easy thing to do, and yeah, it's not a neat hem. It looks kind of okay when you're wearing it as a shape, I mean, but technically, yeah, I could have done better. So these are the points in my own shirt. And I've told you about my daughter that she's on the big side. So I decided that I wanted to make her a few t-shirts, because the ones you can find in the stores usually don't fit her. So I modified Aalto shirt using her measurements. I decided to sort of merge two sizes of this shirt together so that the waistline isn't as curved as it is supposed to be, and then I had to make a few other modifications too. So this is the first shirt that I made her. This light blue, the colors are really weird on the screen. It's just, this is very light blue. This fabric is very, very thin and loose. That looks more accurate now on my screen for the color. So that's very, very loose, very drapey, let's say. And then the upper part with the beautiful unicorns that she wasn't too crazy about. This fabric is sturdier, I'd say. But you can see I've made some changes to the shirt. So it's straighter. It's got a little bit of shaping, waist shaping, but a lot less than in the original version. And when I had finished the first version of this, I found out that the neckline was just way too wide for my daughter. It was over both of her shoulders, so no, and that wouldn't do. And I tried to see if I could fix it, add some fabric and sort of fill in the neckline, but it was just not gonna work. So I took my scissors and cut this off, the old upper part off, and then I cut another piece of this unicorn fabric without the neckline. And as it was folded in two, I took one of her t-shirts, ones that she wears, put it on top of the fabric, and then used that to cut the neckline to this version. And then I drew that on a piece of paper, parchment or whatever it's called, paper, baking paper, so that I'd have a new pattern or a model for her to make more shirts. And that worked out fine. As you can see, I have some photos of her wearing the shirts. I'm gonna add them a little later. But then I assembled it again, and then I decided to use the same fabric as in the lower part for the neckline or the neckband. Because this is very stretchy and loose, I measured the neck opening, and then I multiplied that by 0.7. So I made this neckband 70% of the length or whatever of the neck opening, so that it wouldn't be sloppy and not nice. And that was a good decision to make. And then I just sewed it on. And then I decided to do the similar kind of finishing in the sleeves, because I thought that this would be easier to sew anyway, and sort of bring some unity to the shirt. So with this one, I measured the hole, the armhole, and I multiplied that by 0.9. So it's a little in, but I didn't want it to be too tight. So that was all right, and maybe I'll add a photo of her using this shirt. I think that photo is from her back, because she didn't want to pose that time. Then the second version, I made a t-shirt using this for myself. This fabric is not as sloppy or loose and thin as the light blue, and I think as a fabric it's kind of closer to the unicorn fabric. And then did the same for the neck opening, because this fabric is different. I multiplied that by 0.8 because I figured that it would be enough, and yeah, it looks pretty okay on her. And then the same kind of arm openings or finishing for the arms. Let's take the dog here. No, can't. Yes, now. Right, and I'll add a photo of her posing in this shirt in here. But yeah, pretty nice two shirts. The light blue and the unicorn fabric I bought from Eurokangas, which is a fabric store here. It's a chain store. We have one here in Jyväskylä. It was one of their sort of discount boxes or whatever. You pay by kilo, and the unicorns and the light blue fabrics together were like less than 12 euros. And I have a lot of unicorn fabric left, and also a lot of that light blue fabric left. So yeah, this was not a big investment. I like the unicorns, but like I said, my daughter was not too keen about them, but because it's only the upper part, so she was okay with. Oh, and of course I forgot to mention that I didn't do the curved hem in these, because I just wanted to make them quickly, and I knew that if I wanted to make the curved hem, I'd have to do some fiddling, and I just didn't want to use that time, so that I could finish the shirts pretty quickly. And then there is another sewing project that I've done after last time I recorded.
I've made some face masks. I know it's a controversial issue, but nevertheless, that's what I've done. We do not have to wear face masks in Finland. Our law doesn't make it possible to oblige us into using face masks. Freedom of something, I don't know. But yes, so I figured that I might need some and I wanted to be prepared. So I went on YouTube and I typed, I think I typed it in Finnish, kasvomaski, in the search box. And of course I found loads and loads of videos. And the first one was from Kangaskapina, and they're sort of rectangular face masks. I had some pillowcases that I don't need anymore because I've gotten rid of the pillows and the size was very abnormal. I don't have pillows of that size anymore, so I have some pillowcases that I figured that I could use for this when I try and see what happens. I've mentioned it before, I think, that I do have a printer at home, but I have misplaced the wire between the printer and my computer, or the wire that goes between the printer and the computer, and it's not a Wi-Fi printer, so I can't use a printer, and that's why I can't use the hundreds and hundreds of patterns that you can find online for face masks. But yeah, the rectangular one, they gave some measurements on the video, so I tried it. And this is what I made. Okay, it's this way around. So I used some old t-shirt from my daughter for the ear straps, and then the cotton fabric from the pillowcase, and then I actually put there's a pocket if you want to put some filter in it, and then I used one of these clipper things from some toast bag, and I sewed it in. But anyway, so I tried this, and I tried it on me, and discovered that this particular one, well, it's not very neat, but it was just a trial version, what the French call une toile. Don't know what that is in English nor in Finnish, but you know, it's a test version to make sure that the measurements are all right and all that, from a fabric that's not as or is cheaper than the one you're planning to use for the project. Anyway, so tangent. This is too wide for me, and I knew that if I tried to use it like this, it's just doesn't sit well on my face. I could, of course, shorten these straps, but then it would be way too small for my ears. It would be really difficult to put it on. So if I wanted to make more of these, I should make it narrower, or this measurement shouldn't be that big. But I felt that it was very, very, well, because it's just a rectangle, it's not a very good fit, really. So I looked at some other videos, and I found one that gave some instructions on how to draw your own pattern for a fitted face mask using a ruler, some paper, a pen and paper, of course, a ruler, and something with a curve like a plate or a bowl or something. And I'm gonna link all the videos that I used down below in the description box in my show notes. And then I used another video from Kangaskapina where they made this kind of fitted mask. They have a pattern for it on their website, but like I said, I can't print anything. So I made this, another one, using the same cotton fabric for the mask, and then the straps are from the t-shirt. And it was too small. I felt it was from, like, in this part it's too small, and maybe even in the width. Plus that, well, I'll show you. This is really like a tight curve. I hope you can hear me with this on. So I felt that this looked a little like a muzzle or something, kind of weird. So I changed the measurements, and I used another plate, one that was a little bigger than the one I had used for this version, because with a bigger plate, the curve wasn't as steep or something. So I came up with this face mask, and if I can put them side to side, you'll see that first of all this is smaller, and well, I'm not sure if you can see the curve. Not really, but anyway, so this comes higher up on the nose, and this is my first version, I think. Yeah, still has the straps, and for this one I didn't put any sort of pouch or something for pocket for a filter, but this is way better on my face. So it's pretty nice up here on my nose. It's well under my jaw, and the straps are the right length. So this was a good fit. This one doesn't have the sort of clippy thing in here, nor does the smaller one. But since I had found, or I was happy with my measurements and the pattern, I made some more. And for this one, I did use one of those clips in here. And yeah. And now I've made a couple of more with another fabric for the outside, and these versions actually have pocket for a filter if I wanna use one. But yes, now I have I'd say 4 usable, 4 that are fit me. I'm gonna make a few more because just in case I need some, then I'd like to be ready. I've used one when we had a PTA meeting at my daughter's school, and all the adults, the parents, were in the classroom, and there are about 20 kids in my daughter's class, so potentially we could have been 40 adults inside that classroom. So I just wanted to be considerate. I have 2 kids, both are at school. My older one goes about with his friends, even though, yes, he's a rational boy and knows about social distancing, etc., but still, there is a risk, and I just wanted to minimize it in that contained space in the classroom where we possibly could have been sitting more or less next to one another. So actually there weren't that many there, but some of them were virtually participating in the PTA meeting, but that's beside the point. Face masks, and there'll be some more. I won't be showing them anymore, but I'll leave the links under the video so that if you want to see how I sewed them and how I drew the pattern, then you'll get some pointers.
Here's a pair of gloves I made for my daughter. Didn't use any pattern for these. This yarn is Admiral R Druck yarn, and as you can see, it's a fingering weight yarn for 120 meters in 100 grams, 75% virgin wool, 25% polyamide or nylon, whatever. And I've used this yarn previously in a sock. It was for Sukka Finlandia, the Finnish sock knitting competition last winter. And I had some leftover yarn, and my daughter needs some gloves because even though people in the southern and central Europe have their summer vacation right now, and they're complaining about heat, our mornings have started to be pretty chilly, about maybe 5 degrees Celsius. So she's gonna need some gloves, so I knit her some. And like I said, I didn't use a pattern. I just took some measurements from her hands, the circumference of her hand, or this palm part, whatever, and all her fingers, thumb and index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and little finger. And then I calculated, because I knew what my gauge is with this yarn on 2.5 millimeter, that's US size 1.5 needles. And I started knitting these on magic loop 2 at a time, up until these fingers. So I made the thumbed gusset and left some stitches on hold, cast on a few stitches more here, and then I knit up until I got to the little finger. And that's when I took one of the gloves on another set of needles, this time using DPNs, and then I knit all the fingers. And as you can see, they're not a matching pair, but they were not supposed to be. But and they're really snug. I'll try and take some photos of her wearing these gloves so you can see how it goes. But just some make one right, make one left type of increases for the thumb gusset, and yeah, nothing major. Next time I make her gloves, because she's gonna need more than one pair, I think I'm gonna put some sort of patterning, a little bit of something on the back of the hand, so that it'll be easier to see which way is which, even though, yeah, they're not very much different, the left and the right hand glove, but anyway, I think it'll be nicer if there's something on the back of the hand.
All right, now let's get on to some knitting. I have a few finished objects, and the first of them is a pair of socks. This is the pair, well, it was a hoe, I think, last time I showed you this. This is a test knit for Ida-Maria Tyyskä, who is knit grammar on Ravelry, and she called these Ruusu socks, at least in the test version. I had finished one last time, I think, and now they're both finished. This is a toe-up sock. Start with the toe, knit the leg, do some short rows for the heel, and once you start turning the heel, you have this beautiful, beautiful cable on each side of the heel. And then, of course, it's intertwined in here behind the heel, and then you knit a certain amount of stockinette, and then the colorwork section, the rose, which is Ruusu in Finnish. So, and then you have twisted rib and a bind off. I used Austermann step yarn for the main color, and then this colorwork, this pink in the colorwork is Lang Yarn's Jawoll Magic in this pink color, and they're really cute. I made this my daughter's size, and I actually managed to get her foot size, but this is the first of the pair. See how much stretch there is in the colorwork, and yes, I did the ladder technique as suggested in the pattern. Then I started to knit the other one, and being a little too confident, this one is way much tighter. I actually haven't even tried these on my daughter with the same ladder technique, but just tightening the yarns much more on the second sock. This is one of the reasons why I try to knit my socks 2 at a time, and if I had done that until the end of the stockinette section, I would have done these, one after the another, so maybe my tension would have been more the same. But I finished one sock because I couldn't get the yarn out from inside the yarn ball, because that's how I knit my socks 2 at a time. And like I said last time, it was a good thing that I didn't do these 2 at a time, because once you start doing the heel, making the heel, I was doing these on magic loop, so I had stitches on 2 needles, of course, like this, the top of the foot on one needle and the sole of the foot on another. And once you start doing the short rows for the heel, you need 1 stitch from each side of the sort of neck, the other needle. So yes, I could have done it 2 at a time, but I would have had to think, and that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy knitting other people's patterns, something that they have already thought about everything, and I just have to follow the instructions. Well, yeah, the instructions were good, it's just that I wasn't. And actually, if you put these side by side, you can even see that my row gauge is a lot tighter on the second sock. So I'm not quite sure what I'll do. I started to say, but then I forgot. I haven't tried the second sock on my daughter's foot. If I do before I edit this video, I'll try and put some photos of her wearing them, but I do have some photos of her wearing one sock, and it's pretty okay. In the instructions, the Ida-Maria had written after the heel turn that work X centimeters of stockinette, and that's what I did. Maybe she said X amount, X centimeters, or the amount you want, or something. But, so she had a certain number in the instructions. I don't want to think about anything, so I just did that amount of centimeters. And for a kid's sock, my daughter has European size 34 foot. The leg of the sock is, if you think about the proportions, it is kind of long. So often if you fold the sock at the heel, the leg is pretty much as long as the foot. And as you can see, this is way longer. So for her, this sock is pretty high on the foot. It's not at the beginning of the calf, it's higher. So where of course the circumference of the calf is wider than if you're lower on the leg, if you know what I mean. But yeah, we'll see what happens. It's a really pretty sock. Although I'm not too keen on doing color work, as you know if you've watched my podcast before. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. If they fit her, then yeah, I'll just leave them like that. But if they don't, I'll have to think about it. I'll have to rip back to the end of where the color work starts, and I'm not sure if I'll do the color work anymore. Maybe I'll just work stockinette until a certain length, and then I'll just do the ribbing and bind off, because the heel is really nice. So I would really like it that she'd wear these socks. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's a pattern by Ida-Maria Tyyskä. If she has already released a pattern, which is possible, but I'm not sure, I haven't checked. If she has, then I will link it in my Ravelry project page, and that will be under this video in the show notes. Yeah, that's where everything is. If you have any questions, and if you can't go onto Ravelry because of the issues with the new look, then just feel free to leave me any questions down below under the video. Then there is another project that's actually just a half-finished object, but it's a test knit. It's also a test knit, and this one is something that I will not be making a pair to. Yeah, it will not. I will not make the second sock, but I'll show it to you. It's pretty. So it's a test knit for Arina Shmarova. I forgot what she's called on Ravelry. I'll write it below. But this sock is very cute. This is called Elven Forest socks, and it's worked top down. Yes, starts with some ribbing. It's not 1 by 1. It's not 2 by 2. It's nothing like that. It's different amounts of knits and purls, and then you start working this lace, which is very nice. you have a sort of a lace section, and then there is this, let's see, oh, here it is. It's a kind of a cable without being a cable, actually. And that's, you have this cable stuff going on both sides of the foot, on the top of the foot, and then you have a lace here in the front. Very nice. And at the back of the leg you have the lace motif twice, and then you have the cable here in the middle, and then you start working the heel. Very pretty. Like I said, like as you can see, it's tiny. I signed up to do the smallest size in fingering weight yarn. That's why it's so small, and it's very pretty. I don't have anybody whose foot would be this size, so that's one of the reasons why I'm not gonna knit it into a pair. But this is very nice. It's a very nice pattern, and I will be making a bigger version of it. But and the instructions and the pattern is very well written. There were some little glitches, but she has already corrected them, and the pattern has been released, and it's I linked it on my Ravelry project, so you can find it in there. But this smallest size in the fingering weight yarn, I kind of don't know who would wear these. The leg of the foot is very narrow, and if you have a baby, or it's also kind of long for a baby, I think. But with a baby, when I was putting clothes on my kids when they were babies, they have chubby feet and chubby calves and legs and all that. So you don't want anything that's too tight. One of the reasons is that you don't want them to, be uncomfortable in the clothes, but also because it's not always easy to put clothes on a baby because they don't help you oftentimes. So if it's easy to put on, then yeah, that's good. And for a sock of this width, no, I don't think it's fit for that, or it's suitable for that kind of wear. But like I said, it's a very pretty pattern, just not this size. This was where you cast on 43 stitches, and for a fingering weight yarn, that's a small amount. If you're using thicker yarn or heavier weight yarn, then yeah, I'm pretty sure you could get a really nice sock with casting on 43. But if you're using fingering weight yarn, then I don't see the point in this size. And I did tell that to the designer. I hope she didn't take it badly, because that's not how I meant it. But just as feedback as a mom of two. But I don't know, maybe she has kids too. I don't know her. Anyway, very pretty sock, and maybe you'll see a pair of socks, because I think I might knit a pair in a bigger size for my nephew's girlfriend for next winter, or next Christmas. And the yarn I used is ProLana Sockenwolle. It's a fingering weight yarn, 425 meters, or 420 meters in 100 grams. So it's sort of kind of light fingering, maybe even. And I used 2.5 millimeter needles, as I did for the rose socks too. Okay, one more finished object. I have it behind me, because it's not, no, it's here. under everything. This is Briochealicious by Andrea Mowry. It was a whip last time, and now I have finished it. It is amazing. You can't see it. It's made out of some sparkling yarn. It's Rouva Silmusolmu Säihky-Sukkis. I'll try and get some video or photos where you could see the glimmering behind some trees now, so you can't see it in sunlight now, but this is very, very nice. It's long. I haven't measured it. It's long. This is where I was last time, where I have my progress keeper. So I had just done one brioche section, and then I was in the middle of a garden section. But now I have finished it all, and it's so pretty. I love the colors. The first yellow here is Aurinko, so it's the sun, and the red yarn that I've used is called Kirsikka. The colorway is called Kirsikka, that's cherry. And then I think somewhere during this garden section, I started alternating Aurinko with Kultasukkuume, which is gold fever. And then I had Kirsikka the whole time. There was enough of that. So this is just so pretty. And now it's finished. And I'll try and get some nice photos of it. Yeah, I can start wearing it now. It's really nice. Did I write anything of it? Yes, I used 4.0 millimeter needles when I was knitting it. It's US size 6. That's it. And then I have two works in progress. Well, first of all, somebody asked me under my summer vlog, I think, how do I find the different, or how do I decide which patterns I want to use. The socks that the test socks that I've shown you were both in Test Pool. There's a group on Ravelry called Test Pool, and I found them there. Just somebody was asking for test knitters, and I wrote in the thread that, yeah, I could, please. And that's how I found those. Briochealicious I found on somebody's podcast, and I put it in my queue, and it's been there for years. And now it's finished, and I'm really happy that I knit it. And then, yes, now I have a whip, a sock whip. This is from the Ravelry group Sock Knitters Anonymous, and they have this challenge for each month. And one of the challenges for September, October, so there's a thread for September, October. They're featuring a designer called Becky Greene, and she has a mystery sock for this month. And those socks are called Never Enough Dragons, and I'm making them. I have finished Clue 2. So if you're knitting Never Enough Dragons socks and you haven't finished Clue 2 and you don't want to see it, then you should look away. But here's my sock. You start with this really pretty different. Okay, I'm gonna get closer. You can't see anything from back here up. this really great different ribbing. It's very nice. And then, so that was, okay, let's show from this part. This is clue 1, the ribbing, and then you start doing the sort of lace pattern using ProLana Sockenwolle or something, sock yarn. So this was clue 1, and then clue 2 was released, this Tuesday. And it started with some more lace and then the heel. And I'm having fun with it. It's really fun. It would be better in a solid color. I knew it when I started knitting them, but I just decided that, I'm gonna use the yarn I have, even though the pattern would show better in a solid color, but they're really fun. They're really fun, and next Tuesday we'll get the next clue. I think there are 2 clues left for this pair of socks. I'm using my 2.5 millimeter Jawoll red lace needles. That's US sized 1.5, I think. Yes. That's my whip. And then I have one more whip. I'm going to turn the page. I have some fingerless mitts coming. And I don't have... Okay, that's the Sockenwolle yarn band. And I forgot to take the yarn tag with me because I have it by my couch. But I'm making some fingerless mitts. They're called Straightforward Mitts by Dräger, I think, a German designer. This is a pattern that's been in my queue for, I don't remember how long, and I don't remember how I stumbled upon the pattern. But, well, you can't see much. This yarn is amazing. This is a Cosmic Strings sock blend. The colorway is called Warrior. It's got sort of rust and orange and gold and purple and just amazing yarn. I've used some of it some years ago in a pair of socks that I was alternating with some rusty brown. Looked really good. But this is that colorway on its own without another color. It's very, very variegated, as you can see. I like it a lot. And you can't really see it, but there is some patterning starting here. Let's see if I can. No, not much. Well, and because of the variegation in the yarn, it's not very easy to see, but maybe next time we'll see it better. But this will be some fingerless mitts, which is appropriate for this time of the year here in Finland. But these, I'm knitting these while I'm waiting for the next clue for the socks. This is a pair of 3.0 millimeter needles. That's US size 2.5. Because for the mitts you don't need to have as tight a gauge as for socks. But these will be really pretty. I am kind of thinking that once I get to try it on, if it fits my hand really well, if it's not too loose or anything, I might turn these into a pair of gloves for myself. But we'll see if that happens or not. But yeah, this is my other whip. So I only have 2 whips at the moment. But that's not all that I will have. Because as for future projects, there is this online knitting event in September. I think this is the 4th time. It's within the French-speaking knitting community. It's called Knittage. It's like Quidditch, but knittage. So it's a Harry Potter themed event, and the participants belong to different houses of Hogwarts. I'm doing this in French, so and I'm a Hufflepuff at the moment. So I signed in, and I'm a Hufflepuff. And since this is the 4th year that this is or has been organized or is being organized, it's the 4th novel of the Harry Potters, and that's when they had the wizard tournament, Tri-Wizard tournament, right? It's the 4th novel, and this time that's why the rules are a little different. That different houses aren't competing against each other. It's something else, but the thing is that it starts next Wednesday. The first tournament starts on next Wednesday, and then I think you have like 2.5 weeks to knit as much meters as possible, and there's some way to report that in the competition and all that. It's just gonna be some fun and games, and it's like whenever you hop into a moving vehicle, or in this case an event that's been going on for 3 years already, and this is the 4th year, and there are people who know each other already and they know the system, and then I'm going like, how does this work? So I'm just trying to learn it and sort of get the idea, but it's something fun to do in the fall. And of course it's this time of the year because the school starts at the beginning of September in France, like they did in the Harry Potter novels. So now it's happening, and I'll be starting a new pair of socks next Wednesday. You can use your whips in there too, but I want to cast on a new pair of socks. I've had a pattern from Ida-Maria called Dolores Umbridge in my Ravelry library for a long time, and now I'm gonna make them, and I'm casting on next Wednesday, so that'll be great. Yeah, and then there's one more thing before I start talking about the outro I'm going to have. So the giveaway. Last time I talked to you, I mentioned that my podcast turned 4 this July, and I said that I would do a giveaway for anybody who asked me something under the video last time, under last episode. Well, I only got one question, but I just decided that there were a whole 5 comments under the video, so I just decided that okay, I'll just draw from those 5 and used random number generator, and I decided to give this sock yarn. This is Ikke. Ikke is a Finnish indie dyer, and this is Ikke BFL sock yarn, and the colorway is called Blizzard. So it's appropriate to Finland, I think. And this is 75% blue-faced Leicester wool and 25% nylon, 425 meters in 100 grams. And this yarn will be going to Alison Rosebloom. So she was the first, she had the first comment under my video, and her name came up from the draw. So Alison, would you leave me a comment or maybe get in touch with me on Ravelry if you like, or Instagram, whichever you find easier. Just give me your address and I'll send this to you. And the only question that I got was from Heli Keiju. I think she's Heli Keiju, even though it was just Heli something on YouTube. But she asked me if I could live anywhere I wanted, where would I live? And that's a really difficult question. I have kids. It's a restriction, but at the moment, I'm really anxious to learn more about France and French culture. So even though I've been studying French for a long time and I've known French people a little bit, and I've been watching French podcasts, I would really, sorry, there's a plane going by, and I guess you can hear it. But yeah, I would really like to go to France. Maybe not Paris, because I've been to Paris a couple of times, and even though there's always new stuff to see and experience there, but I'd like to go maybe in other parts of France and stay there for a while to really live there, live the experience and experience everything, life in there, but not to stay. I really love Finland and I really like being here. So, and I like my kids going to school here. But that's just dreaming at the moment. Yeah, so that's nice. And of course, no, I'm not keen on cold weather, so France would be nice, even in that respect. Okay, just briefly about my outro. So, we visited my father-in-law some weeks ago. He lives close to the western coast of Finland, and I took some video clips from when we were there and when we were driving back from there. We had some really cool misty weather at times, and it was a nice trip. So that's what you will see here in the end, or if you are not interested, I'll just bid you farewell. I hope you'll be well, stay safe, and enjoy whatever life brings you at the moment.